Alright, people, I just had the best, most awful idea ever. It's almost like a parody of an idea, alright? I know I promised that I wouldn't do the whole, oh, this is totally what Nintendo needs to do if they want to be successful, but this is so butt-fuckingly stupid, you gotta hear. Alright, I just got done talking with a friend of mine. I'm not really gonna go into details about him, but I have this one online friend who every conversation with him is basically, well, why can't I have everything exactly the way I want it? And then when I try to explain to him why that wouldn't exactly work, we then spend about an hour going back and forth with him going, well, they could do this. No, there's a reason why they don't do that. Well, they could do this. Like, okay, this conversation started with him complaining about the fact that Hayao Miyazaki did not do a collaboration with Don Bluth. He was seriously sitting there complaining, well, why didn't Hayao Miyazaki ever do a collaboration with Don Bluth? I really want that. And I'm like, because, what? I mean, generally speaking, when he says these things, my response is, well, that would be really cool, but it's completely fantasy La La Land. There's numerous reasons why it wouldn't happen, but I'd love to see it. I'm not sure what a Don Bluth Hayao Miyazaki collaboration would look like. I'd love to see it. I agree with this. But I live in the real world. I understand why this guy, he would spend a fucking hour being like, what if his arguments was like, oh, I had to think, like, it would, if Hayao Miyazaki teamed up with Don Bluth, it would give him so much more recognition in the States. And my response was, dude, Hayao Miyazaki is already more popular and well-known than Don Bluth in the States. Which is actually a really weird thing to think about. Seriously, think about it. It's true, isn't it? More people know Miyazaki than Don Bluth. Would you agree with that? I'd agree with that. I'm the one who said it. But okay, I'm going on too long. Point is, eventually we got on the topic of Nintendo and the Wii, and he starts complaining about the fact that Fatal Frame didn't get released in the States, and I can't blame him on that one. And of course, if he's going to complain about that, I'm going to complain about Zangeki no Reigen Liev, which, if you're not familiar, Nintendo actually hired Sandlot, the makers of Earth Defense Force, to make essentially Earth Defense Force, except based on Norse mythology and with the best fucking motion controls on the Wii. Not even kidding. Best motion controls on the Wii. Nintendo personally published it. And of course, it was only released in Japan. And this guy's response was, people just need to get over the fact that sometimes Japan makes mature games for mature audiences, and they just need to get over that fact. And it's then that it dawned on me. Just everything in the universe came together. It was like the light shining down on me with the stupidest idea. Because I know, half the universe is thinking, Nintendo needs to make more mature games for mature audiences. I know people think that that would be the key to success, and I disagree with that, of course. I think we need more good E-rated games. Obviously, I'm cool with that. I've mentioned that in the past. But yeah, there are tons of people who are like, Nintendo needs to make more mature, serious games. And then, at the same time, I remembered that one, the Fresh Games label. Anyone remember that back on PS2 when that one company, I think it was Eidos, just some company, like, released a bunch of crazy Japanese games in these boxes with this yellow border, and it said Fresh Games, and like the whole point was like it was emphasizing, this is a wacky Japanese game, it's wacky and Japanese, aren't we cool because we released it in the States? So that was kind of a thing, and it all came together in my mind. The best, most awful idea ever. Nintendo should make like one, and not like suddenly start focusing on dark, serious, mature games, but they should make like one or two dark, serious, super bloody, mature games and release it under a special label. Nintendo Edge. Oh, I saw you cringe. Yeah, they could put it in a black box, and it could have like this black border thing at the top. You can say Nintendo Edge in red text, and the Edge could, like, be written in, like, sort of a blood splattery, paint splattery font. Oh, you are cringing, you are wincing, you are thinking exactly of the 90s. You can see Rob Liefeld dancing a jig in front of you. I see your face. I don't need to see your face. I know the expression. This is the awfulest, most 90s-ass piece of stupid anyone's come up with. And that, my friend, is why it would work. It is so awful and so stupid, I could see Nintendo Edge being a thing that would work. Because here's the thing. Here's, like, almost the ironic thing. If Nintendo released, like, a dark, mature, serious game, people would just look at it as a fluke, or they'd go, Nintendo's trying too hard with this one game, and people would complain about it, and everyone would basically just snub their noses at it. But if Nintendo released, like, 2 or 3, and they made the Nintendo Edge label, if Nintendo actually tried too hard, would probably take off. I don't even know why. Like I know. Well, no, I don't know. I was going to say I know most game journalists would snub their noses at, and you know what? They have such a hate on for Nintendo that there's a good chance they would. But number one, there's a lot of dumb kids who would rejoice at the edginess. There's a lot of really shit writers who would think of this as like the dawn of a new era. Nintendo finally gets it. Nintendo Edge. Of course, they shouldn't do anything with like their existing properties and making them edgy, but they could. Well, I don't know. Like, as long as it didn't star the main characters, like they could do an edgier Zelda game that like didn't star Link. Or was a spin-off? I don't know. It's all bad ideas. That's my point. These are awful, awful ideas. I only support them in them being so awful. I find them hilarious, and I could see them working because people are stupid. Hey, there are some dumbass people out there. So I could totally see Nintendo Edge working. But more than that, I think the important thing, though, according to my friend, maybe he's wrong. I don't really pay close attention to the Fatal Frame series, even though it's one of the few survival horror series I actually thought was good. He said something about, like, the entire Fatal Frame series got remade and re-released on the Wii U in Japan? Is this true? I should probably check that. But he was, like, complaining. Well, I was saying that Nintendo probably wouldn't release that in the States. They totally should. Wouldn't be a bad idea. And yeah, if they had the Nintendo Edge label, then they could easily just, every time a Zangeki no Reigenliev or a Fatal Frame came out, they could put it under that label. I'm not even sure why I'm making this Metabble, other than the fact that I think it's the most hilariously awful thing ever. And I completely agree with anyone who disagrees with Nintendo Edge, because this is dumb. But it's the kind of thing so dumb, and so, I'm repeating myself, so dumb and so awful, I could see it working. That's the thing that makes me... That's why I'm laughing! That's why I'm laughing! Nintendo Edge! Fuck, I can see the ads now! Oh my god, it's the 90s all over again! The Rumble Pack! I think I didn't get enough sleep last night? Because this is the kind of thing a madman comes up with. Oh wait, no, I know what it is. It's the fact that I spent a fucking hour explaining to a sentient human being why a Don Bluth Hayao Miyazaki collaboration isn't happening right now. Again, I'm not saying it would be bad. I'd totally love to see how that would turn out. I don't... How? Why? What? No, I agree. This is the problem with this guy. I agree with him. He comes up with great ideas that would never happen because we don't live in La La Land. As much as you... Like, people, real talk. When someone says, man, I'd love to see a Hayao Miyazaki Don Bluth collaboration, the only way that conversation can really go is, yeah, wow, that'd be super cool. I wonder what that would be like. Like, that's all you can do with it. You can't argue that it's a totally feasible thing that should exist, and the fact that it doesn't exist just means that everyone else is cheap and lazy and stupid. It's not how the world works. I mean, for fuck's sake, I could list off a million things that I would like. I would like a home port of Planet Harriers. I don't know why that isn't happening. Because people are cheap and lazy and stupid. Sega probably lost the source code again, and the chipset it's on is a nightmare to emulate, and no one successfully emulated it. And there's no real demand, as much as I would like to see that. Same thing with Slash Out. I'd like to see a home port of Slash Out. I could list off things I'd like to see all day. I'd like to see a Bloody Roar 5. Of course I would. I will buy whatever system they put Bloody Roar 5 on if it happens. I'd like to see a new Monster Rancher. I'd like to see... I could do a whole video of things I would like to see. I'd like to see a new Star Fox game. Like right now, that's all rail shooter all the time. I'd like to see Crystal in Smash Brothers. I'd like to see a lot of things in Smash Brothers. I'd like to see Princia Remote in Smash Brothers. Ha! There's an impossible fucking thing. I'd like to see a Soul Calibur spin-off that stars Lizard Man. Just the all Lizard Man game. I want a game starring Reiko Nagase from Ridge Racer. It could be about time travel. Because her age, like, keeps changing. It's weird. We could really do this all day. I want a new Samba de Amigo that uses the PlayStation Move and the new Kinect to work, because that would work a lot better than trying to do it with Wiimote. Oh, God, why did I bring that up? I'd like a new Wii Cheer. I'm going on way too damn long. I could list off games I want all day. But you can't just sit there and argue about the fact that they don't exist. They don't exist. I want them. They should have it. I want playable Geki in Street Fighter. No one cares because he's a generic ninja with a claw. I want that since I was like 5 years old. Okay? So people, reality. Why am I just... I'm sorry. I've gone off on a tangent. It's clear. I have actually been broken. I've been talking to this guy for like more than 3 hours. I am actually broken. And the proof is in the Nintendo Edge. I'm telling you, it's a brilliant ass idea. Anyway, this is Gel. I think you might maybe have been GameMetabled. This is the most literal game babbling I've ever done. Nintendo Edge. I'm telling you, it would... It's so stupid. It would probably work. Because... fuck everything. See ya.